Welcome to Grassroots Unfiltered. Today we are joined by Grimsby Town midfielder Jamie Walker. We were discussing his journey from grassroots to pro. Jamie, thank you for joining me, mate. Really appreciate it. On the back of your game last night, and it's also your daughter's birthday, so thank you. I want to start off the podcast by just finding out your experiences of grassroots when you were younger, coming through, and then we'll go into where it led.
Yeah, I think like any young lad, I grew up playing for my local team, Calder Boys Club it was called. Grew a love for the sport from there, and the rest is history, as you say. Yeah.
And we were talking before that you were quite young, weren't you, when you went to an academy? But how much of an influence were your parents in this journey?
I think parents are probably the most important part of a young footballer's journey. Not just on the pitch, but off the pitch. In the car, to and from training, to and from matches. I think all that stuff that their parents do, travelling to training, travelling to games, everything along them lines is. Their parents are probably the most important part of the journey. Yeah.
Were they forceful, or were they just very supportive, just let you enjoy football?
I can't remember too much. Obviously, I was really young, but it was mostly my dad who took me all over the country. Way up the north of Scotland. When we got to Scotland youth games, all of that stuff. I don't think he was too harsh on me, or I think he just let me enjoy my football, enjoy training, and we had good coaches in Hearts Academy at that time, and at my grassroots team, so he just let me be and tried to guide me probably more off the pitch than on the pitch.
I think that's the best way, isn't it? Just let the kids enjoy the football.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've got a young son myself now, and I go watch his grassroots games, and unless I'm coaching, I stand at the side, and I don't say much to him, and I just let him enjoy it and let him develop at his own level. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of child were you then on the pitch? Were you quiet, or were you a bit shy, or did you get stuck in?
It's weird because a lot of people do say to me that I was quite arrogant on the pitch.
Right.
I think that the way that how would I say it? The way that if I was arrogant on the pitch, it would get the best out of me as a player. I think off the pitch, I was really shy. You wouldn't believe how shy I was as a kid. If you asked me 5, 6, 7 years ago about coaching and interviews and all the stuff along them lines, I would be nowhere near it. Like one-word answers. So I was really shy as a kid, but as I got older and more experienced in that, I kind of blossomed into who I am today. Do
you think that helped you later on in life? Did you carry that on? Was you quite arrogant when you made it as a pro, or did you kind of settle down?
No, I think I wouldn't say arrogant, but I'm quite. I play on the edge a little bit.
Yeah.
I think
you got to have that confidence about you, haven't you?
Yep, I think a lot of players find their way that gets the best out of them, and I think that's my way. A little bit arrogant, playing on the edge a little bit, and I think it gets the best version of myself. And I think most players will have their own way of doing things, and what gets the best for them.
Yeah. So you went on to make over 150 appearances for Hearts, didn't you? Your boyhood club, being from Edinburgh, how were that?
Yeah, it's probably the best. Making my debut for Hearts was probably the best day of my life, other than my kids being born. A little bit like Bobby is for Bradford. Grew up 5-10 minutes from Tynecastle, the stadium, and to make my debut for that club, it was a special day for me and my family. Yeah.
I bet it was. I did a bit of research, obviously, and you experienced highs and lows there, didn't you? You suffered relegation during administration period, but you also got that promotion. So what was that like, the promotion back to Scottish Prem?
Yeah, it was amazing. I think it was a bit of an unusual championship that year because Rangers obviously were just coming back up.
Yeah.
So they were in the championship, which is probably arguably one of the biggest clubs in Scotland. Hibs, Hearts' nearest rivals, and probably one of the biggest games in the Scottish calendar. They got relegated the same season as we did with administration. So in the championship there was Rangers, Hibs, Hearts, so it made for a good spectacle, and thankfully We had a lot of young players that season, and thankfully the club stuck by us, and we got the club back to the top league. Yeah,
I can imagine you've not had many more highs than scoring against Rangers. I think it were at that place as well, wasn't it, in a 4-1 win?
That was at Tynecastle.
Oh, at Tynecastle, even better than what, in front of your own fans.
Yeah, I remember that night like clear as day. I think it was 4-1 to us at Tynecastle. So, yeah. I scored 2 goals, and they've got a new stand now, but the old main stand at that time, I remember the atmosphere. It was electric, and I thought, this is why I grew up to be a footballer. Yeah, this is the moments that make you all worthwhile.
Yeah, because I think every child dreams of playing for the club that they support, don't they, really? So to do it and scoring goals, and you were there quite a while, weren't you? There for
Yeah, I think in the end, when I came on loan to Bradford, I had made 240 appearances. Yeah, I scored 54 goals, I think, and I think a lot of kids will grow up, and you ask kids nowadays and they'll say, I want to play for Barcelona, Man U, Man City, Liverpool, all them, and I grew up and I wanted to play for Hearts. That was reality, and thankfully I did that 240 times. Yeah,
that's brilliant. And you've just mentioned you came on loan to Bradford, and then you made it a permanent switch for, I think it's about 3 years in total, wasn't it? How was it at Bradford? Was it a big culture shock? Was it a big change?
I think when people ask me that question, there's probably a lot of lads who, especially when they were in League Two, do really well at that level. Maybe I moved to Bradford, and I think they maybe struggle with the fan base, the expectations. No disrespect to say maybe like a Harrogate or something like that, but they're a smaller club. Maybe they do really well there, and they come to Bradford, and it's such a different environment to what they're used to. Whereas for me, when I signed for Bradford, the big expectation, the big fan base, all that stuff that comes with being a Bradford player, I was used to it from Hearts. You know what I mean? So I think that kind of worked in my favour, obviously being at Hearts before, and then obviously coming to Bradford. Yeah,
a lot of players what have experienced playing in front of them, the amount of numbers that like you say, at Hearts and at Bradford. I just want to go back to the grassroots side. And it's a lot of children out there obviously want to play professional football, but it's not that easy, is it? What kind of mentality do you need to make it? Or, if it's not just about mentality, clearly, but
I think, especially nowadays, probably more so than when I was growing up, there's thousands and thousands of more good footballers. I think, like you say, you probably need a desire to get better. I think a lot of kids will maybe just play now and improve and practice when they're at training. Whereas for me, when I was growing up, a lot of the stuff that I done was away from the game, practice wise. So I think that's a big one now. A desire to get better, a desire to work hard, a desire to improve, and even then, if you do the things, you still might not get to where you want to be. I think I think for parents of young children, I think they don't actually realise the percentage of people who actually make it as a professional footballer. So if your kid's enjoying the environment, socialising with other kids, the whole exercise aspect of it, whereas I think them 3 things sometimes can get a little bit lost in it now.
You could go through an academy setting from 10 to 18 and then make it professional, couldn't you? So do you think there's a sense of false hope then that falls upon these parents to think, because their child's been in the academy for so long, they just automatically think that they've missed it?
That's a good question. It's a hard one to answer, as in I think you could there could be somebody who's maybe in the academy that's not the best player at the academy, and they're the one that goes and makes a breakthrough at the first team, or there could be a kid in there who everyone's got high hopes for, and they're not the one that makes it into the first team or whatnot. No, I mean, so it's quite a difficult question. I think the big one for me is when the parents come as if they get released from, obviously, an academy, and I think there could be probably more done by the parent and by maybe the club or the FA or whatnot for that
All
situation.
right. So a bit more help out there.
Yeah, a bit more help out there, because I think that's when they maybe struggle and fall out of love with the game, and they think what's the point? Whereas realistically, it's not the end of the world. Not
Yeah, I think I do agree with that. I've never experienced it personally, but I've got family members that have been released and then they no longer play football. What do you think they could do then? What do you think they could be?
I don't know. It's quite difficult. Obviously, the FA, I think they're doing a little bit more. I think Trent Alexander's done the thing recently of working with people who have fallen out of the game. Yeah. It's quite a difficult one. I think more from the parent perspective of it is just to be there for your child. As I said previously, like, it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? You can go and get opportunities elsewhere. You may have just got released from that club on one sole person's opinion. They might not rate you as a player or whatnot. It's quite hard for me to answer that question speaking from experience, because when I was in Hearts Academy, I kind of just went from strength to strength, and I never really had that knockback until maybe I got into the first team level. You know what I mean?
Right. So, how did you deal with them knockbacks?
Probably, as I said before, my parents would go out with me. Right. Even to this day now, if I have a bad game, get a red card, all the stuff that goes along with being a professional footballer, the social media abuse, the criticism, all that stuff that's part of the game. I think my dad's been fantastic with me and just saying, "How are you?" Like, as his son rather than as the footballer. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of people on the outside look at me as Jamie Walker, the footballer, which is fine, I am, but obviously on the other hand, you're still a person as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're just a human being like everyone else.
Yep.
Everyone suffers with mental health issues and things like that, and social media. For a footballer, it must be a minefield.
Yeah, I think it is. It's part of life now. I'm not stupid to just disregard that. It's a big part of society. I'm on it, so I think a lot of people say if you don't want to be involved in that side of it, then why are you on social media? Which is a fair point. So I think it's just being in a good mind space, as you say, using the people around me, which I do, my family, and trying to keep level-headed when stuff like that arises. Yeah.
Brilliant. I've got a few questions on. We'll carry on within the professional game, but I want to find out what it was like for you representing Scotland. I think you represented them from under 16s, 17s.
Yeah, to under 21s.
Under 21s. Can you just tell us about that?
Proud, as you could probably imagine. Another probably highlight in my career. Not just on the pitch, like off the pitch, going around, seeing obviously a lot of the world, stuff like that. Playing in the European under 17s qualifiers. When you're in football, I think you're always looking at the next thing, the next game, and you don't actually look back until you're older or retired and think, I probably achieved a lot there. It's a bit off topic here, but I think when we obviously beat Man United this year, it was on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And like the game's done, and straight away you'll think, we got Bristol Rovers on Saturday. Where realistically, you look back and like we've just beaten one of the biggest football clubs in world football.
I mean, get to enjoy it.
You don't really get to enjoy it. You don't actually probably appreciate what you've just achieved until we look back now and you think, Jesus Christ, like we beat Man United. You know what I mean? Like I think that's a big part of football. Like
So, was the jump from say the Hearts Academy to the first team? Was that a massive shock to the system?
It was quite difficult. No, actually, I've got a story not making the from Hearts first team, but I went on loan to Raith Rovers from maybe the Hearts under 19s. I was still an academy player, and I went on loan to Raith Rovers when I was a kid. And I remember our first game was against, I think it was Hamilton Accies at Raith Rovers Stadium, and I think it was like 4-3 or 3-2. I can't remember the score, but I remember starting that game. I was really young, 18, 19, and there was a few experienced lads playing for Hamilton who'd been around Scottish footy and played a lot. And I remember coming off the pitch that day thinking, like, is that the level? Like,
really?
Yeah, like they were really, really good, and that's probably not even at like the top of the Scottish football pyramid. You know what I mean? And I think I took a step back then and went like, I've still got a long way to go here. You know what I mean? And
got to open again.
Yeah, I've got to keep working hard and keep doing the right thing.
So, you've done that. You've gone to Rafe. You went back to Hearts, and then a few years later, you've had a good few seasons, and then you broke your leg, didn't you?
Yep.
What was that like to come back from, and what was it like just to experience that? Because I think that was your first big injury, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult. But I always look back on my injuries and think, what if had 3, 4, 5 knee injuries, a few operations before I'd even made a first team appearance. So I always look back on them and think, what if? But it's probably built me into the person and the character I am today. Injuries are part of the game, and you can't really get away from it. So yeah, they are difficult, but like I said, I think it's about your support network around you. My parents, my kids now. If you've got the right people around you, and obviously the staff at the football club, and you get the best rehab, you get the best surgeons, all that stuff. So yeah. I think the initial shock once you get injured is always the worst part. Once you get started, and if you need an operation, you get going with your rehab.
Do you get them quite quick then? Is it
yeah, usually get them in with like a week or two.
Right.
You get that done, and you get in the gym and you get on with your rehab, and you think this is part of being a footballer, and you try and knuckle down and get back on the pitch. Yeah.
Right. I've never experienced like a broken leg or anything like that, and I've never played elite level football, so I can't really relate. There'll be a lot of people that can't. But in terms of the difference between grassroots and then academy football, how big is that gap?
I think it is quite a big gap, as in technically, tactically, mind-wise. But I think the whole aspect of it's similar, as in you play football because you enjoy it. I think that's the same in grassroots. It's the same now in first team level. I just think there's more pressure as you go up the levels. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean that there's probably players who played grassroots and within 2 or 3 years, or they played junior football or non-league football, for example, and within 2 or 3 years they're playing professional football. You know what I mean? So it's quite hard to gauge how big the gap is. I think as you go up the levels, I think players are probably quicker in the mind than they are technically. Brilliant.
And we spoke earlier about just drilling in the basics, and doing them well. So can grassroots coaches maybe take a lot from that and just focus on the basics?
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the biggest part of the games.
Don't overcomplicate it. Just
yeah, I think I don't know what I'm going to say. As in, I think the basic how you receive the ball, how you pass the ball, movements you make to get on the ball, all that stuff. The basic part of football, if you've not got them fundamentals, then you can't go on to the next part of the game. Like, I've seen a lot of sessions, and it's creating the attack, finishing the attack, all that stuff, which is fine, and it's all part of football. But if you can't receive the ball properly, if you can't take your first touch, all that basic information, all the basic skills, if you can't do them, you can't play through the lines, you can't do all that stuff, you know what I mean? So if you can't do the basics, it's irrelevant for me, the rest of the game, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think, in terms of grassroots coaches, like me, myself, I've never played at that kind of level, but I was quite technically gifted, I know the basics, but I don't think I know them well enough to coach. Do you think there could be something from the FA that instead of having to go for your UEFA C and B and things like that, do you think the level 1, the introduction to football, could be a bit more about the technical side of it?
Yeah, I think maybe, like you said there, they could maybe have I think the coaching badges are the coaching badges. You get on them and you maybe learn a little bit of information here and there. I think they're more for guided towards being an actual coach in a professional environment, or a manager in the professional environment. But I think, like you said there, I think could they maybe structure a course around the basics of footy, how you receive the ball, the technical side. I think that is a route that they could maybe go down.
A lot of coaches now are just mums and dads that have stepped up because they were no one to coach the team, and
yeah, I think a lot of the time, if you're a grassroots coach, your son or daughter, or however you want to call it, plays for that team, don't they? And I've no honestly, I've got so much time for Grassroots coach. They give time out of their day, Sundays, weekends, tournaments, training, all that. But I think with a bit more guidance from the FA or from someone or somewhere, they could put the basics in the first or 2 or 3 stepping stones of the basics of football.
I do think that would help, yeah.
To then, maybe when they get pushed on to the next level, they're ready to go.
Yeah. Not every coach wants to, progress and go through it, because it's quite hard to get onto them courses as anywhere. But I do believe, because my missus, she's always going, "Oh, you could be a football coach," and I'm going, "I couldn't.
Yep.
I don't know, the tactical side of it and things like that." But I think just as a little introduction and just to help people on the way, I think it would be good.
Yep.
I'd like to see something like that introduced. Let's move away from the boring talk. I want to talk to you about Bradford City now. Massive Bradford City fan. You are a hero to me. I think you will to a lot of Bradford City fans who will be listening and watching. What was it like at your time at Valley Parade?
I always say it. Bradford gave me that love back for football again. Obviously, I played for Hearts and got a great move to Wigan and played for Peterborough, which are 2 great football clubs.
Don't care about them.
And then obviously went back to Hearts about COVID situation. And at that time, my contract was coming to end at Hearts, and it was probably the 27, 28, and it was the first time in my career I was probably thinking, like, where do I really go from here? Fortunately for me, Derek Adams rang my agent, came down on loan to Bradford, and from there I think I just got that love, as I said, back for the game, and I owe a lot to Bradford as a club. And
did you know Derek Adams before?
I played against a few of his teams when he was manager of Ross County.
Right, okay.
I didn't know him personally, but obviously I knew who he was, and he obviously knew who I was through Scottish foot.
Yeah. I think you had good seasons with Bradford. I think you're very well thought of. I think you're one of them players that everyone loves. How disappointed were you in the decision? Was it taken out of your hands? You didn't have a choice in it to leave?
Yeah, I didn't get offered a new contract, which, it was fine with me. I always say to people who ask me, and obviously my family and stuff, like, I love playing for Bradford. It's an amazing football club, the fan base, everything about it. Like, I loved it. But you can't, with my football head on, no one can probably disagree with the decisions that Graham Alexander's made in the last 18 months to a year. Like, he's done a fantastic job, like, on the pitch, you know what I mean? Would I want to stay and play and be part of the club in League One? Yeah, definitely. Like, that's where I wanted to be at the time when my contract was up. But like I said, with my football head on, he's done an unbelievable job. And to look where the club is now, it's the first, other than Hearts, it's the first result I look for. When my game's done on a Saturday, I just hope that they go and get promoted again. Yeah.
I think a lot of Bradford City fans will look out for your results. Players like you, Andy Cook, Brad Halliday. I think you were seen as like a backbone of a very successful side.
I think when we did get promoted, obviously Sash was brilliant, Pato was brilliant. There was players, Cav.
I think everyone was brilliant, weren't they? Really?
Everyone did really well. I think the whole thing, as you're saying there, I think me, Richie, Brad, Andy had all been there from the start, you know what I mean? So we had that a little bit of affiliation with the supporters. We'd been there from the start, the kind of the journey and the build from being 15th in League Two and then the playoffs, then 6th, and then
the progression.
The promotion, yeah. And I look back now and I think in my time at Bradford City, we obviously got to the playoff semi-final, the EFL Trophy semi-final, EFL Trophy semi-final again, twice, and then we got promoted. So you're looking back in there and 2 or 3 years or whatever, and you think it's
very successful time.
It's a very successful time, yeah. Obviously there was disappointing days, weeks, months along that period, but that's part of the elite sport. That's what it's like.
Do you think the pressure at a club like Bradford is too big sometimes for what the club's been through.
I don't think now in League One that the pressure's too big, because there's probably there's probably bigger clubs in there who's played at a higher level more recently than Bradford. But I do think in League Two, sometimes that pressure of the big crowd and the expectation can be suited other teams coming to Valley Parade.
Yeah, they'd get on you.
Yep.
I think a lot of players had never, like you said previously, had experienced playing in front of crowds like that. They couldn't really handle it, could they? I'm not saying they bottled it, but there were a lot of times when you'd look at them players and you'd think, are you giving everything there? But when you look at players like you, Cookie, you just always seem to give everything.
Yeah, I think if you ask most Bradford fans or whatnot, what they thought of me as a player and a person, they'd probably say that you know, I bought into the city, I bought into the football club, which I've done it I've tried to do it most clubs I've been at, and somebody who probably gave everything when they stepped on the pitch, you know, for the club, for the badge. And I probably lost. I knew I was well thought of by the fans and stuff like that, but since I left the football club, and I've been asked to go back to other things at the club and events and whatnot, and you know, when I've been just out in public and supermarket, the amount of people who've come up to me, walking my dog on the canal, all that stuff, the amount of people have come up to me and said, oh, like, thanks for everything you've done for Bradford. And I think, Jesus Christ, like, they do actually appreciate
I don't think sometimes people don't realise how much of an impact you've made to the city. So my 3-year-old, he is obsessed with Bradford City now, and that's just all from last season. Yeah. Honestly, the amount of times I hear Bobby Pointer's name, I must hear his name about 600 times a day. And YouTube is constantly on just Bradford City. He's 3 years old.
Yep.
You've created a new fan for life.
Yep.
There.
I think a lot, maybe especially the younger generation, they maybe fallen out of love a little bit with the club, maybe 3-4 years ago. But I think, you know, last season, as you said, it's probably that new generation. It's maybe the first time they've tasted a bit of success, and they think this is what the club could be, and they've probably got a lot more of the younger generation on board from the last 18 months, which is obviously a good thing, yeah.
Because that final day against Fleetwood, I've never seen scenes like it.
Yep.
I think that's the best way to go up, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
it's got to be.
I think as a player before the game, you're probably thinking just get an early goal here, 2-3-0.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up, but like I think the way it actually went in the end, you couldn't really write it much better, could you?
Scenes wrong.
Yeah. Even after I wasn't involved on that day, but I wasn't on the pitch, and I just think like
you were for part me, of that team,
I'm looking season, back, and I think like no one deserved it more than the supporters, like especially the ones who travel home and away every single week, and probably travel to your Crawleys and stuff and seen us lose a few games. Tuesday night away in Gillingham, all that stuff. Like, it's for the people who like really deserve it, and you know, it was an amazing week. 2 weeks.
Seeing you in front of a cop with your family, wife and kids with your Scotland flag on, and full cop behind you.
I kind of knew that at that time that my time was probably
did you?
I hadn't been told or whatnot, but I probably knew. I'm not stupid, you know what I mean? I knew at that time that, and personally, like, I still want to play football. I think I was thinking last season, I've still got a lot to give.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm finished and towards the end of my career. So if I was going to be out the squad and all that kind of stuff that goes along with it, then obviously I want to go somewhere and play footy. You know what I mean? My kids are getting a bit older. They want to come to games, they want to see their dad playing, stuff like that. So I had it in the back of my mind that obviously I could be leaving the football club, and you know, thankfully I got to say a goodbye with my family. Yeah.
And you got to enjoy special times. And so you've gone to Grimsby. You're in quite a good position, aren't you, at the minute? You just had a good win last night. You've got a goal of the month, I believe. Yeah. 2 screamers in one game. If you haven't seen them, you're going to have to go on YouTube and look at them.
Probably the best goals I've ever scored, to be honest.
2 in one game, they don't come around often. But so how are you finding it at Grimsby?
I'm enjoying it. Another fantastic football club with a very loyal fan base.
They travel well as well, don't they? They've come to Bradford a few times.
Honestly, I'm enjoying it. The manager's great, like I was saying to you before off air. Really, really clever. A lot of his ideas that I've not seen before, and especially now as I'm probably dipping my hand into the coaching side of it. is somebody that I can really lean on, and we speak quite a bit about coaching and how to develop young players and you know, all that stuff. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
I listened to his interview after the game last night, and he talks really well, doesn't he? You can just see he's got that passion for just drilling it into players.
Yep.
And what he expects.
I think tactically, he's probably one of the best managers I've ever had.
Right.
I think, like you said there, drilling the messages into players and repetition is probably something that's maybe lost in grassroots and coaching. I think parents will turn up to sessions and they maybe want to see it free flowing, and they want to see a different session or a different plan every single week, whereas that's not realistic. Like, if you're not hammering down on the same thing for at least 4 to 6 weeks, like, the kids aren't going to grasp what you're trying to get, you know what I mean? So I think that's really, really important, like I said.
Got to have your plan and your ideas, and you've got to stick to them.
Yeah, but I'll always plan my sessions for a week in advance, and I'll always have, like, why I'm doing the session, and how I'm going to get what I want out of the session. So, like, if a parent maybe watches my session and they think, oh, that didn't look that great, and they came on the pitch and they said, oh, why were you doing that? What were you trying to get out of it? I could say to them, well, these are the reasons why, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I might not got that way, it might not went as well as I wanted it to go, but that's the reason why I did it. You know
That's the thing when you're coaching kids, you can have all this session plan. Sometimes I just don't understand it.
Yep.
And the struggle, and it looks a bit messy, and it, you know, some people are getting it, some people aren't. It's not ideal. It's not, you know, you can't.
Yeah, I think
can't be helped.
obviously it's a bit off topic what we're talking about, but I think coaching as well, like, a lot of it's you need to adapt.
Yeah.
You might plan for 10 people, 8 might come, as you said. There might be a different range in abilities, ages, all that stuff. So you need to be really adaptable when you're coaching there.
Going back to Grimsby, like I say, you had a good win last night. I think you're just about outside playoffs, or you're a point away. Is that the aim then? I'm not going to obviously try and put you under pressure, and I don't think your manager would be too happy, but I think you've got a good squad there, aren't you? You're quite capable of going up through playoffs or making them.
Definitely, I think when we set our targets out at the start of the season, we wanted to get out of the league.
Right.
I think if you ask probably 20, 24, whatever there is, teams in the league, I think most teams would say the same thing. You've seen it as a Bradford supporter, the league's really competitive.
Yeah, it's not easy to get
If
out.
you could ask 10 people at the start of the season to choose who you think would get promoted, I bet there'd be 10 different answers. Really competitive league. As you said, a good win last night. We're in a great position. We got a game in hand as well. So we're good. I think there's 12 games left. Just take each game as it comes, and hopefully come the end of the season we'll be where we want to be. Yeah.
Brilliant. So just moving on to your academy that you set up with Nathan, Project 7. How's that going? How long's it been going for?
I think that's maybe 6-7 months now.
Right.
Obviously I enjoy coaching. I've got a real passion for developing young players. I'd say, like, getting the basics right, the technical side of it, I've got a real passion for doing that. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. Getting really busy, and and enjoying coaching.
Is it something that you want to continue after you've left playing, go into maybe coaching adults as well, or?
I think it's when I probably realised I want to start getting a little bit involved in coaching. I think you've obviously got to start somewhere, don't you? So obviously I set this up, and hopefully I can pass on a bit of my knowledge to the younger kids. As I get a bit older, maybe 35, 36, and I retire from footy, will opportunities maybe come up in the professional game? And if they did, then obviously I've coached for 3-4 years already, and I've got that little bit of experience behind me.
Yeah, it'll help you out, won't it? So what's the philosophy of Project 7?
It's difficult, as in you get a lot of different ability level kids obviously coming to the session. I think, like I said to you off air, I think I was surprised since I've started doing it how many kids just can't do the basic stuff, as in receive the ball properly, pass the ball properly, all them little small basic things. So I think that's the philosophy of it, is more technical side of it, getting the basics right, and then probably developing them from there.
Yeah. And you play in the JPL and the new elite development series. So how are you finding them?
Yeah, great. Shout out to the lads at the EDS. I think they've created a great environment for the kids to learn, for them to grow without any noise from the sidelines. And they're quite strict on it, and they'll tell the parents if they're breaking the rules, should you say. So it's a great environment over there. I think they're just starting out not that long, so it's still quite small as in how many clubs are in it. But I think the route that they're going down and the environment they're creating is really, really good.
I know our season partner, Next Gen, they're playing it, don't they? So what does success look like for a 10-year-old? 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old?
I think the most important one is enjoying the game. I think if you're driving or coming to your son in the house or in the car or whatnot, and he doesn't want to come to training, then you're not doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Like he's got to have a desire to want to go to training. Once he gets to training, I think, like you said, I think it changes from age to age. I think there does become a point where you maybe get to 13, 14, and if you're really, really good, you think, oh, well, I've got a chance here. You start thinking a little bit differently, you know what I mean? Whereas I think when you're a young kid, like, why'd you start playing the game of football? Because you enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of why I do it. I try and create an environment where the kids come and enjoy it. So when I am trying to get a little bit of detail, a little bit of what I want from the session, if the environment they're enjoying, then I think they'll learn a lot better.
Oh, brilliant. It sounds like I've seen the work you do online and Instagram and things like that, and it looks really good. I know you've expanded a bit to this side of Bradford, haven't you now?
I think for me as well, like I said off air, I've got so much time for anyone who wants to be involved in footy. It's the biggest sport in the world. Everyone wants to be involved. Everyone has an opinion. But I think where we're different from probably maybe a few other places is you've got somebody like me who's, I think if you're coaching from the side as a coach and you've not played the game, you're just giving your opinion on that situation or that element of the game, which is fine. Whereas I think when I'm telling a kid maybe in a 2v1 situation, an overload and underlap, all the elements of the game, defending or whatnot, I've been in that situation with the ball. So I'm not making it up, you know what I mean? I'm telling them from experience of being on the football pitch. I'm not looking from the side or as a fan from the stand. I've lived that situation. I've lived the moments that happen in live football and try and pass it on to them. I think a few times, like, a kid might do something and I think, well, I could see what he was trying there, or I could see what he could see, because I've been in that situation which might look different from the side or from in the stand, you know what I mean?
And it's not like you've just done it in the park, is it, either? You've done it in some big stadiums with a lot of eyes on you. So that experience is invaluable, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big part of why I started it as well, on it, to pass on my experience and knowledge to younger kids. And that's not just the lads who are really, really good. I want to provide opportunities for the kids, all levels, all ages, all abilities. Everyone deserves to play at some sort of level and play games. And I've got a lot of time for and I see a lot more development and probably the kids with a bit less ability. I love coaching them as you see a lot of improvement there.
Yeah.
And that's why you do it, to see kids improve.
We've had it with a player in our team, me and Dylan, and he's been with us 2 years now, and he's just like a sponge. He just soaks everything up, and his development has just gone skyrocketed.
Yep. There's two things I try and stick to, like principles, when I'm coaching, as in one's trying to develop the player, as in technically, tactically, and one's trying to develop the person. I mean, there's two elements of it, and if you get a bit of both of them, then you're halfway there, not really.
Yeah. I think with like academies as well, the players have to want to be there, don't they? So when they do turn up, they're focused, they're there to develop, aren't they? Whereas with Grassroots, sometimes they might not want to be there, they can't be bothered. But I think you're going to get the best version of them, aren't you, at these academies?
Yeah, I think like the environment, like I said, it's like important. If you create that good environment where they know their limits and they know their boundaries, but they're enjoying it and they want to come to training, then I think you see better learning and better development off the back of that. I think like, because like there's obviously academies and there's private academies and there's Grassroots. I think like Grassroots is amazing, and it's where every child develops a love for footy in it. That's where you first start playing. Every single player who's played, they start in Grassroots. It's amazing. But I think like obviously if you want to take it a little bit more serious and get a little bit more detail out of the sessions or whatnot, that's when you maybe look at like a private academy, you know what I mean? And that's up to like, say me for example, as a coach, to develop that player as much as I can. Yeah. To get them to a stage where I can say like, well, I've developed him a lot. Like there you go. Like you take the next step. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's where I kind of want to get to. Because realistically, like maybe 50-60% of our players are probably not going to be professional footballers. You know what I mean? So why would we take away that enjoyment factor?
No, you can't.
Yeah. So there's no point taking that.
So what sets you apart from other private academies? Because I see some that are kind of selling people a dream. That's the way I see it. Say, we work with all these clubs and blah, 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 there's pathways and this and that. Basically, I think it's all bollocks. That's my opinion. I think they're taking a lot of money from people and they're selling sand, basically.
I think, like you said there, like my obviously professional experience is probably a little bit different outlook from, as you say, maybe other places where they're selling a product but they've still got grassroots coaches or they've still got stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's quite a how can I say it? It's quite a good discussion, isn't it? Really?
Oh, of course it is. Yeah.
You could probably discuss it all day. But I think that professional aspect from me, I don't think, like, obviously we're set up as a business. Every business probably wants to make profit. Which is, that's the way it is. But I don't want to get to the point where it's just all about that. No. I want to, even if it's 5 years, 6 years, 7, 8 years time, I want to try and keep the quality, all that stuff, like keep the sessions high tempo, provide opportunities no matter what level you're at, all that stuff, and get kids ready for whether it be to go to Huddersfield, whether it to be step up to GPL, whether it be step up to EDS, whether it to just be the best grassroots player. All them aspects is I want to try and get every single player who comes to the level that their potential can reach.
No, fair play. At least you're honest, mate, and I think a lot of people respect that. I've seen, like I said earlier, I've seen it all, and I know it's good. And I think having someone like yourself there, it's that experience. Can't beat it, can you? So, what's one thing every young player should focus on? Put you on the spot there with that.
Yeah. As in, what do you mean? As in training wise, or
just one thing in terms of development. I know every player is different.
Probably, I always go back to like mastering the basics of the game. Using both feet, left foot, right foot. It actually makes their job. It makes the game so much easier. If you can receive the ball left foot, you can receive the ball right foot. You can pass left foot, right foot. I wish as a kid, I used my left foot more. I'm all right with it, but if you get the basic elements of the game nailed down, then you can start working on other stuff. You know what I mean?
Brilliant. Any advice for grassroots coaches?
Don't try and no one's trying to rewrite the script or do something that's never been done before. You know what I mean? I think you need to try and look at the group of players you've got, which is probably the most important thing. Like I'd coach maybe like a GPL team different from a grassroots team, you know what I mean? Because you've got probably better players in there. So I think it's all relative to the group you have, the ability of you have, and it's up to you to realise what they need. You know what I mean? What they need as individuals and what they need as a team, and then go from there. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's like you say, you're always going to have different standards, different abilities, things like that. So you can never do it one way, can you?
Yeah, and there'll be probably people who get probably more out kids than me, as in like the fun element with young kids. Whereas I probably come in more like as in the tactical side of it and the technical side of it and how you receive the ball or playing with your back to goal and all that stuff, because that's where my expertise are. Whereas you might have other coaches who are better as in with the younger kids and keeping it the fun element of it. You know what I mean? That's the way it is. Like, I think we've got quite a good blend of coaches at us, as in we got obviously me, the footballer, and you got Nathan, who's done a lot of grassroots stuff. We've got Tom for the business side, and then we've got like a few younger coaches who are up and coming, and we're developing them. Like, so
I think that's good as well. Like, say, you've got younger coaches, and you can really help them, can't you, along the way? Brilliant. Any advice for parents on the sidelines?
Yeah, just let the kids enjoy the game. Like, the last thing I want to see is, if I'm coaching at the side, is like parents shouting on. The whole celebrating a goal, like, well done Jack, well done Jace, well done George, whatever, brilliant. Like, that motivation, but like, just let them play and enjoy the game. I think it's the most important part of it. Like, and don't try and like live your kids' journey. Just let them develop at their own rate. And if they get to a point where they think, yeah, I'm half decent here, or I'm really, really good, then guide them from there on out. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. Let's just do some quick fire questions, and then I have got just a few questions from people that I've sent them in on social media. So quick fire, hardest opponent first.
Virgil van Dijk.
Really?
When he was at Celtic, there's not many players I've played against or played in a competition or in a league where I thought like he's far too good for that level, and like Van Dijk was far too good for the Scottish League. Like, he took the mick a little bit. Like, he was that good. Like, he was unbelievable.
Would you say he's the best Prem defender of all time? I've seen that debate flying around.
I'm a bit biased because I like Liverpool, but I like John Terry.
I like John Terry. Best manager you've worked under?
Tactically, I'll probably say David Artell now.
Right.
I think there's a lot of people who want to, even at grassroots level and that, they want to play like a possession-based like kind of way of playing, but there's no like purpose to it. They're just passing for the sake of it. Like I said to you before, like, there's 3 ways of playing. You can play round the press, through the press, or over the press, and it's up to me as a coach to give the kids the scenarios when they know, like, oh, we're playing over here, we're playing round, or we're playing through. You know what I mean? So David, like, I tell you, he's great at that stuff. He wants to play possession based, but there's a purpose with it. He wants to pass forward, he wants people to run forward, he wants to be on the front foot. You know what I mean? We're not just playing it around the back for the sake of it. And I think he's also I've played it under managers who the same are tactically really good, but they maybe disregard that you're playing in the Scottish League and you need to win first balls, you need to win second balls, all that stuff. And obviously David Artell's got that as well. So he's got a mix of kind of both sides of the game. And I think I'll be really I don't want to tempt him away from Grimsby, obviously, because he's a top manager, but I think in maybe 4 or 5 years' time it wouldn't surprise me if he was managing in Championship.
Really?
Yeah, really good, yeah.
Brilliant. Describe your younger self in one word.
Driven.
Legacy, what do you want to be remembered for?
Being a good person.
That's brilliant. Absolutely.
I think, like, all my achievements in footy, my family will obviously be proud of what I've achieved, and my kids will be probably when they grow up, but, you know, I just want to be remembered for being a good person and, you know, helping. I think that's what the Bradford fans, obviously I scored quite a few goals and big moments in that, but I think if you're a good person you go a long way in life.
Yeah, definitely. I love that answer. Well done, mate. Finishing off, if a young player's listening right now and they dream of becoming a pro, what would you say to them directly?
Probably never waste a day of training or like a match or just an opportunity to get better and improve. I think even at our level now, it's probably a strange thing to say, but training will finish and maybe lads will stay out on the training pitch after and they'll be practising, a few lads be in canteen eating or whatnot, and they'll be looking at the window thinking, like, look at him, he's so busy. Like, Gaffer's son, he's just, you know what I mean, he's wanting to practice, he's wanting to show off. And I think, like, I look at it now and I think, like, that was maybe me as in my, like, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but now I look at it and think, fair enough, like, he wants to get better, he wants to improve. No matter how good you are as a player or how where you're at ability wise, I think, like, no matter how good you are and whatnot, that there's always room for improvement. So when you train and when you play, when you're in the garden or whatnot, like never waste that opportunity to go and get better. I mean, I say that to the kids all the time. Like, you come to training and you want to get better. Like, never waste that opportunity. Play with a smile on your face. Obviously, enjoy it, have fun, whatnot, but just never waste an opportunity.
You look at players like you look at players like Ronaldo. You know, he's an absolute machine, and it's still
parents and stuff maybe just look at Ronaldo and now think, yeah, he's the best footballer in the world, or Messi is the best player in the world, but probably disregarding a bit on how they actually got there and the work that they put in, the mindset that they have, the desire to improve every single day. Like, Ronaldo scored a hat-trick and he wanted to score 4 goals. He scored 4, he wanted to score 5.
Yeah, it'd be disappointed.
Just that whole every single day, every single moment.
It's a different mentality, and
to get
really.
There,
You've got to really want it. You? And just quickly, I've got some questions from people online. I've got OJK here from TikTok saying, looking back on your time at Bradford, how do you hope the fans remember you?
As a player who helped the club get back to League One. Somebody who probably, represented the club as they would as a supporter if they played for the club. Bought into the city, bought into the football club, and that day against Fleetwood is probably a day that I'll remember for the rest of my life, and probably one that the fans will remember. Yeah,
definitely. Got one here from Bradford City Edits. What team has been the most enjoyable where you've played at?
I've played in some good teams. Obviously, been promoted 4 times. I think you go back to the Bradford team, obviously, and getting promoted, and the 2 promotions with Hearts were obviously one after we got relegated in COVID and one after we got relegated after administration. So realistically, Hearts is probably the 3rd biggest club in Scotland, and they don't want to be in the 2nd division. So there was a whole element of, thank God we're promoted again, we're back in top league, that's it, it's done, know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas the whole relief around the Bradford promotion was like, thank God, we finally done it, we're out of League 2. So I'll probably go back to that team last year.
Right.
There's some fans probably don't see it, but there's some big characters there that, know what I mean, that as I go back to Richie Smallwood, and he just played every single game. Whether he got praised, criticised or whatnot, it was just like water off a duck's back to him, and he just went. He put on the captain's armband the next week, and he went again and again and again. And I think with people in that environment, and people in that squad, and people like that, then you will get success.
True professionals.
Yeah.
We've got Chris Aviar from Facebook. What advice would you give to players nowadays that you wish you would have been told?
I always say there's one that sticks in my mind. It's I don't know if it's for younger players, but probably for maybe lads who are in academies, and that is availability is the best ability. Being available to play and train, and that's the best ability you can have. I mean, if you're injured or you're in the physio room or you're not looking after yourself or whatnot, then you're not good to anyone. Yeah.
And then one more, and it's from my missus. She badgered me to ask it. Do you think, especially at grassroots level and the younger age group, football should be played during different months? So I don't know, maybe from June or even early, April to September.
I've actually been asked this question before. I think there is an argument for it, as in summer football. I think there's an argument for that in professional game.
Yeah.
I know when I played in Scotland for a bit, they had the winter break because of the weather. And I think there's a whole argument of, does that help the development of the player? As in, if you look at if you go to, say, Spain, for example, when it's sunny all year round and they're playing all the time and it's never raining or whatnot, and probably hours that they're on the pitch and the hours that they're playing in that are probably a lot higher to what the UK is. There probably is an argument for that summer kind of footy. But it's the school holidays and people go away, and
other sports as well. Cricket.
Cricket and stuff like that. But I do think there is an argument for it.
There's been so many games called off this year already, and some teams have hardly played since Christmas.
I think there's obviously a lot more AstroTurf pitches now, but that's the thing, they're expensive to rent and whatnot. I think if I was personally, I think I would probably say yeah. Like I would probably go with it. Maybe not right through the summer. I play off some sort of break, but I think there is a way that you could probably make it work a lot better, as in take a few weeks from the summer and have that break in the winter, and then add it on at the summer again or something like that. I think that there is an argument for it.
We'll have to start a Grassroots Unfiltered Summer League. Project 7 link up.
Or that's another thing, do the FA or the riding counties or whatever, whoever sorts the leagues, do they try and sort a summer league and see what...
Even if it were just like one venue, and they had that venue every weekend or something, get
playing there,
3-4 games on a week. Jamie, really appreciate that.
No, it's my pleasure. Thanks, I've enjoyed it. Cheers.
Thank you, mate. And that was Jamie Walker discussing his football journey with us here at Grassroots Unfiltered. If you want to hear more, find us on YouTube, Spotify and Apple Podcasts.